All right. Hello and welcome to Aren't You Exhausted, the podcast. This is my first live stream I've done in a while. I can't even remember the last one I did, honestly. I'm your host, Ashley. Um, we're gonna be talking, I'm gonna get the chat situated here while I'm starting out and we're waiting on people to come in. I'm not scheduled to be starting this until 7. Give people a chance to get in. Move this up. All right. How's everybody's Monday? My lovely husband is in attendance watching the live. I made you mod. If you hadn't noticed. Leo. But we are going to be going over the messiness that is Joanie autism mom life. A lot happened over the weekend, I feel. A lot. Go ahead and get her up on the screen here. Oh, this is Joanie's mother. I don't know what her actual age is. I know a lot of people are saying like she's in her 80s. I feel like that's not right. Um, she seems a little bit more coherent for 80, but we all age differently, I guess. But apparently she had a lot to say about things that are being said in the snarkle subreddit, as she calls it. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's the beginning of this video. And you know what? I don't think she noticed that she was recording right away because it's kind of like she was already talking about something and it's jumbled in. It's weird. She put it in a weird order too because the order that it was uploaded on TikTok was part, which it doesn't tell what part it is, part 3, and then they uploaded part 2. Weird order. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. In the meantime, let's read a Facebook post from Miss Joanie from 2022 discussing her children and children's safety. So this was a post Joanie wrote on her Facebook page. I do follow her Facebook page. A lot of what she shares isn't really anything anymore. It's mostly just regurgitated TikTok posts, honestly. But she does have like a lot of family pictures and stuff on there, and I'm not gonna post those. I'm never gonna be that person to post those. So, but I did catch this in the Snark subreddit, and I went and found the actual post as well. But I found it interesting that she mentions her child's safety in this, and we're kind of not following through with that present day as far as the safety of her other children. But in this, it says, I haven't mentioned this very publicly yet, but I do believe in the power of prayer. Joanie is a Baptist and very, very deeply rooted religion. We have made the difficult decision to get residential treatment for Cash, which is her oldest son. He is in an acute program in South Carolina. So please pray for his team. Pray that he makes progress specifically to be able to be safe around his siblings and others. And pray for increased communication skills and life skills. This is incredibly hard, so please remember us also. Thank you. And then she does her autism awareness acceptance thing towards the end. All the hashtags. And I'm wondering where that concern went, because now that we're doing everything for money, we're showcasing our private life for money, we're showcasing the ugly side of autism. He's not out of the house now, no. he's still living at home. But this was when he was getting care. She's pulled him out a couple of times of care, from what I've understood of what people have said and what she's said briefly in her live streams. But she prefers care that she can give him over care that he can get from a facility, which a lot of people have questioned, like, what is she going to do when the boys get older and are much bigger and stronger than her? I mean, they're already bigger than her and stronger than her. They could overpower her if they wanted to. What is she going to do? But it's just, it's the social media aspect of monetizing mental illness and care that she can film, but monetizing mental illness and monetizing minors. She should be working with somebody. I don't think it should be in home therapy at this point, because there are so many other children in the home. She has 6 kids altogether, 2 of which are autistic, and the others are like very young. And it presents like a dangerous situation that they could fall into if one of the major outbursts that he's had was he broke his bed in his bedroom, and he's choked his mom before. And while I understand, like, he can't regulate his emotions well, she has no way of stopping something if it were to snowball forward. What if she couldn't calm him down? She's in a house with no one for most of the day because her new husband works outside of the home. Yeah. Oh no, Potter life. No. It's fine. We're all about conversation here. it's all about conversation. But I find, like, she puts herself in these situations where she has no backup if the worst were to happen. You don't know. He's getting older. Both boys are getting older and bigger, and as a high needs autistic person myself, I can think of a lot of times in my life where I genuinely wish someone had placed me in a custodial care for evaluation. And that's the thing with her. She feels like she can do it better, or I hate to pull the religion card, but I feel like that's also at play. Like, she feels like she knows better than to put him somewhere where somebody else is taking care of him. I know in the South, it's looked bad upon mothers who can't take care of their children. That could be a big factor here. We're going to hear from her mom here in a minute about kind of where you see that Southern marital situation, I should say. It's not even Southern. It's more religious marital situation where they feel like the wife should put the needs of her husband and her children above herself. And yeah, I don't like them sharing their kids online either. That's why I'm never going to post any of the things, like, where we see really dramatic things happening. You'll just have to take my word for it, or go and visit her TikTok page, and hopefully it hadn't been removed or messed with. But there's a lot of dangerous situations she puts herself in that didn't need to be, and it didn't need to be monetized and put out for the public to scrutinize and basically bully this kid. He's oblivious to it right now, but when he gets out in the real world, if he ever does, like, what implications is that going to have on his life? Yeah. But this was a post from 2022. I haven't seen anything as of recently. As I said, most of her recent stuff is regurgitations from her TikTok page. And I don't even think she's put on her recent merch stuff either, which we'll go into later because it's a mess. Her merch is a mess. So I'm going to go ahead and start Miss Shirley here. This is Shirley Fisher. This is Joanie's mother. It says grandma, but it's the grandma of her sons, obviously, or of all of her children, obviously. But we're going to go ahead and play her. We're going to hear what she has to say about everything that's happening so far. This is pertaining to the subreddit. It's pertaining to the backlash that Joanie's getting on TikTok, and pertaining to the ex-husband making his own TikTok account to talk about matters that all of this should be private. All of this, honestly, is so bad for children to make the stuff public, because these are their children. Other children are in on this as well. They have younger children that are going to grow up and be scrutinized for the stuff that's being shared online about their family. But I don't think anybody takes that into account. But let's hear what Miss Shirley has to say. It would help if I, did what I need to do. Stop audio. Why is this not playing?
There we go. A lot of people that should have been supporting her were not supporting her because they were too worried. I have tried to stay out of this. I did not want to say anything.
I got it working, I think, hopefully.
Sake. I still don't want to say anything
technical difficulties
in the future. But since July the 18th, 2009, this man has tried to destroy every family that he has touched, starting with his own. When Cash was born, Joanie worked right up till time for him to be born. And then she went back to work, I believe it was 6 to 8 weeks after he was born. And the very first night that she went back, or the day, because when she worked in Fayetteville, she worked on 12-hour shifts from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And so when she got home about 9 o'clock, she pulled up in the driveway, and she could hear the TV blaring, and above that, she could hear her 8-week-old child screaming to the top of his lungs. She went into
hopefully y'all can hear it all right.
And into the nursery. And he had Cash in there with all of his clothes off, laying in the crib, no lights on, but with the ceiling fan on, and it was very cold in there. And he had the TV turned up so loud, and his reasoning was he was in the kitchen, and he wanted the TV loud enough that he could not hear Cash crying. Now, that might sound like a great new dad to you, but it doesn't to me. And that's when the problems began. Joanie told him she would not work another day if she ever came home and found her baby like that again. And so I started babysitting Cash. Then Joanie moved to Sampson County, where her shifts were different. She worked 24 hours on, 24 hours off. Sometimes when they had busy nights, she run all day, all night, came home, tended to the baby all day, all night, and went back to work without sleep. When Cash was 2 years old, Joanie was at work. Jerry was at his home. When there came a knock upon the door. Now this is his story. He did not even know that Cash was out of the house. And their whole area, subdivision there, is covered with ponds everywhere. And he did not even know that Cash was out of the house. A lady had picked him up going down the main highway, not the neighborhood highway in front of their house.
Yeah, that's true.
But the main highway, just going down the main highway.
I don't think she's actually 8
little 2-year-old. So she stops, picks him up, and starts going house to house, saying, "Do you know where this kid belongs?" And when she gets to Jerry and Johnny's house, Jerry at that time did not even know that he was missing. Does that sound like a caring, protective father? No. That was just an incident. He was very abusive to Johnny, I'll say from a month after they got married until they separated. But she stayed because we really don't believe in divorce like that. Her father and I were married 61 years, and it was 61 happy years. And just like anybody else, we had our little ups and downs, but they were never significant. And that's what she wanted. So she just decided that she would go by the Bible verse, by the Proverbs 31 wife, and that she'd be obedient no matter what. And that's what she tried to do. But you can't be a Proverbs 31 wife if you don't have a
Hi,
Timothy
Gina.
husband. When you have a husband that all he wants is your paycheck and don't want you to even have money to take to work with, to buy you food while you're at work. One day, when she was off, we went to the store and we stopped at Kentucky Fried. And within 10 minutes after she got her sandwich, she got a text from him wanting to know, what are you doing spending money on a sandwich? You know. That's how he was about money. He really loved money. But
I'm gonna stop it there. I don't know if anybody caught that part of her story she was telling. Essentially, she's painting the bad picture of the husband. If anybody has been through parents divorcing, you've went through similar things. If it was not an amicable divorce, of the parents just straight up talking bad about one another. I love the KFC cameo story. But like, we're getting the mom side of the story, which is probably coming from Joanie, telling her mother the bad things that are happening. And while it could be what happened, it could be the total truth, it could also be a fabrication of her trying to manipulate the situation to her favor, to wanting favor from her mother, and to wanting the victim complex from her mother. And the sandwich story is what killed me the most, because if they had been struggling with money, they just had a new child or had 2 new children, and she was out buying, sandwiches out with her mom, like, it's not a smart thing to do if you don't have a lot of money and you've got 2 small children at home that are dependent upon you and you guys need that income. But then again, it's just a sandwich out with your mom. Like, it couldn't have been more than, I guess, like, probably $4. This was probably back in 2016, 2017-ish. It couldn't have been that much. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the fast food sandwich couldn't have been that much to be like, no, what are you doing with the money? But then also, like, it could have been painted that way by Joanie. And, like, I don't know how much of this is actual truthful or if it's just slander, because the father came out and discussed things about their situation with the mother, and it's just a mess. It's a sloppy mess. And I feel like they're oversharing on the internet, which is not going to help anybody's case, honestly.
she just went on with it. And then I told her my sons had mentioned that there was something going on with Cash, that something was just not right with the lining up the stuff, the tiptoeing, and different things. And so I asked her about it, and she talked to Jerry about it. And Jerry said it was all crazy. There wasn't nothing, wasn't nothing wrong with him. And so when it
Oh no,
was
Potter, it's
Cash's
fine, it's
wellness
fine.
appointment.
I'm
She
still
talked to the
like fairly new to
pediatrician,
it too.
and
I've been watching
she
her
said he
over the
doesn't
course
look
of
like he
probably
has
6
autism.
months.
So she
And
didn't
it's
do
just
anything
progressively
further.
gotten worse
But
the more
within the
popular
next few
she's been
months,
picked up
Cash
by other
started
like TikTok channels
regressing
talking
instead of
disgusting
adding
things.
more words. He was
So
losing words.
I'm almost as
And
blind,
he's
but
done that several times during the last 12 years.
I'm still picking
But
things up as
at
I
this
go.
time, it seemed to be really fast. So I went with her to her pediatrician, and they got out a questionnaire, and every one of them was yes on the autism. So they made him an appointment to go and be assessed. Jerry blew his top. He did not want it done, but Johnny did it anyway. But he said there was nothing wrong with him, and they weren't doing this and they weren't doing that. So Johnny says, well,
Thank you, Potter.
my kids
Yeah, I
don't
really
have
don't look
what he
at like
needs. So
everything that I
she
say
left
about
him.
these
She
people isn't
rented
about
her
their
house
size.
just
And if
down
like
below
me
mine.
being a bigger person, I
He
can't
continued to work.
do
I
commentary
babysat
on
Cash.
problematic people on
He
the
had
internet
his
that are sharing their
therapies here. He
mess,
had physical
then
therapy.
that's
I
on
mean,
the
he
people
had
not wanting to watch it, honestly.
what they
I
call
understand I'm not everybody's
occupational
cup of tea, but
therapy. He had the speech therapy and the different things. I think it was 3 or 4 times a week. And after 2 or 3 months of that, Jerry started, coming to visit and telling her he.
all right, so that was the end of, I'm assuming, part 1. Let me go ahead and bring up part 2. And basically all she's doing on this is trying to corroborate like making him out to be the bad guy, which they're trying to do for the sake of like the snark subreddit, and so people stop bothering them. Go ahead and remove. All right, so this is part 2.
Jerry cheated on Johnny, and there's proof. There's the text, there's the pictures. It's all right there in black and white. Other things that happened, and I can't remember it all. I'm an old lady, I get blamed for a lot. I'm called a Bible thumper. I'm called a Jesus pusher. I'm called an old biddy. I'm called baddie. But none of that bothers me because of the source of where it's coming from.
This always cracks me up. I also love the fact that she's got her TV blaring in the background while she's trying to give these tangents. But I love the fact that she's like, it don't bother me what people think about me, but literally sitting here listing out all the things that people are saying about her. It does bother you. It bothers anybody if somebody is talked ill of online or offline. Words can hurt people.
It's coming from that cesspool and sewage of Reddit, which has trollers on it, crawling around the bottom, trying to find somebody to snorkel on so they can get their free products, their hair products, and their makeup products. And you should just hear them talking, and they talk about her making money or stuff on TikTok. And what they're doing is they're not even doing theirs. They're using an assumed name and crawling around.
Right here, she's talking about the people of subreddit, like talking about Joanie monetizing her disabled children. And almost, I feel like a lot of Joanie's content it's nothing. It's like sharing probably stuff that should be remaining private. But also it almost feels like she antagonizes the situation sometimes to provoke her older son and to provoke like infighting between the children, because she knows that gets her TikTok viewed more and gets more discussed. But here saying that people are interfering and making issue with Joanie making money online, when going and doing it themselves. It's just like, I don't see how she doesn't see that is, it's redundant. Like, who cares if these people are also making money off of scrutinizing your daughter? It's the fact that your daughter is doing things that she shouldn't be online and profiting off of children that have no way of consenting.
And trying to disturb and destroy lives of people that they know nothing. They're trying to put children back in harm's way. So therefore, whatever they want to call me, that's all right. But I am a born again, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled Christian, and that I am not ashamed of, and I'm proud of it. But unfortunately, one thing, I am not as kind as Johnny. I am not as naive as Johnny. I am not as humble as Johnny. And it takes a whole lot more for me to forgive for people talking about my children and my grandchildren than it does her. I wish that I was.
This right here is so incriminating. Like, if this were to be put into the court as evidence in the divorce, or not, it wouldn't be divorce proceedings at this case. I think they're actually fighting for the children. But the fact that she's like, I'm not as humble, I'm not as nice, and I don't take kindly to people talking about my children and my grandchildren, then you would be the one that would talk shit on somebody that wasn't necessarily truthful of the situation as well. Like, I don't know. This is so weird that people just get online and are messy about their family. I feel like it's something that should be kept private. And I know it's not prevalent in the South to keep things private. Everybody's in everybody else's business. I shouldn't say in the South. It's small towns mostly, but it does run prevalently through the South, where everybody's in everybody else's business and likes to share other people's business. And I feel like this is what's happening here, is they're just taking it to the next level, but they're involving children that need protected, because they're going to have a really hard time navigating life as they get older if this is how their family is, like, putting their life online.
Half the person that my daughter is. I am proud of her because she just will not sink that ladder. But I have just heard all that I can hear. Not only those people, but now Jerry coming out with his story. Honey, that's one side of the story. Johnny, the CPS, the first time he was called, it was because of Jerry. Because he would not, number one, cooperate with the ABA therapist, and the ABA therapist told Johnny that she thought he was abusing Cash.
Exactly, Daniel.
Well, we never saw any sign of that.
Daniel?
But she was the one. She said, as a mandated reporter, she had to report him to the Child Protection Agency, and they did. And so they forbade Jerry or any of the other grown men in the family even being around those kids for 2 weeks till the investigation was completed. That was because of Jerry, not Johnny. Her home and her lifestyle was deemed safe.
I mean, if there was an investigation into the father, I do believe they would have to not let him have the children while they were investigating it for the safety of the children. So to say, like, it was this aha moment. I'm sorry, Daniel. I'm sorry. I have a cousin that spells her name the same way, and it's Danielle. So pronunciation is not my strong suit of names. I'm really bad with names, so I apologize. But in this instance where she's discussing this, it's like, I feel like it's just so, she's just so messy. This family is just so messy. And I feel like the children are, especially the younger ones, that are going to have to be out in the real world and are going to move on from this and don't need the special care that the autistic children need, they're the ones that are going to like receive the most pushback from this, because they're going to go to school, they're going to go to public schools, and people are going to find out about this, especially if they live in a small town. And I just feel like it's not going to be good to hear about all. Hi, Kalari. It's all right. I feel like we're slow going here. We've only made it to the second part of this video, but it's just so messy. I'm gonna go ahead and keep playing here before I lose my train of thought.
And okay for the kids. Okay? This second time here, it was you people on Snarkle tending to someone's business that you know nothing about.
She's talking about CPS being called
Calling
on
about
Joannie about the
things that you know
kids.
nothing about. And finally, even Jerry called because, oh my God, he's having a stroke.
All right, that was the end of part 2. So we're going to switch to part 3. And go ahead and get this off of here. Move. Luckily, they didn't delete any of the videos, so I'm literally just taking them from the TikTok page.
Her were not
This is part
supporting
3.
her because they were too worried about what would be found out about them. And then, like the other ex, wanting to be so self-righteous, she left and went to the mountains, shacked up with 2 different people while there with Isaiah.
Now, this is the messiness that I don't think she should have also started in on, talking about their relationship outside of the children. Like, that's for them. Of course, that may be like settled in court, whether or not one or the other ends up with custody of the children or gets their way in how the children are portrayed online. Because I do feel like that they should not be a party to being online like this and monetized off of, especially being handicapped. I feel like they can't consent, and there should be some kind of moral line drawn there when children cannot consent to being put online. But yeah, they are just, Joanie and her mom are just a load of messy, and I guess the whole family at this point, because now we have Jerry, the dad, and Jerry's new wife entertaining it as well and putting their 2 cents online, which we're going to get to that video here in a second after we finish hers. This is only like 8 minutes long, and then we'll get into the dad.
Far enough away that Joanie would drive 4 hours there and 4 hours back so Ryan could see his child to pick him up. And she done that as long as they lived there. And then when her second man threw her out and she had nowhere to go, Joanie came and found her a house within 4 miles of where they lived and paid the rent for her. And then kept Isaiah with them till she got everything arranged and moved. And then she was always wanting them to babysit when she had a day. She wanted them to keep him a week at a time and to do this. So does that sound like somebody that is frightened for their child? No. And Cash is not a monster. Cash is a son. Cash is a grandson. Cash is 11. You only see little...
Technical difficulties. Definitely not, Daniel. I do not think they should be used. Like this right here is just gross to me. And having went through something similar in my childhood where my parents talked shit on each other during divorce and custody battles during my youth, I can honestly say it does not benefit the children. They should be left out of it. And it just makes everybody look bad. And who's to say who's right and who's wrong? Nothing has come out with like any profound proof. So it's just he said, she said. If we were to go by what the grandmother has said here, that the father has had CPS called on him before for how he was treating the older son and how the older son was acting around him, and it was investigated, then I would think that the uh, custody proceedings would be pretty cut and dry, because if abuse is there, they're not gonna give him custody or prolonged visitation. It's gonna come at some cost. It's not good for it's not good for any of the children, even the ones who don't have the capacity to really understand what's going on. And I think it would end up in the long run building more of a confusion and frustration and lead to more outbursts from the autistic children, not knowing how to deal with the shifting of the family dynamics. And I just feel like it's a sad situation to put children in, and then putting it online for everybody. I feel like it adds too much to it. Like, I know people are calling CPS on Joanie almost daily now because of what she puts online. And I can't imagine the effect that would have on the other children in the home that are having to sit by all of these new people coming in and taking a look at the home constantly and making sure that everything's okay, or checking in with everybody, because they're going to have to, even if it's something as trivial as like a bunch of random people online calling CPS on her. It's also family and stuff that's calling CPS on her. So, all right, so this video is just not going to play now. Great. Let's see if the dad life will play. So this is almost all of the children's dad, I believe. I'm pretty sure. This is Jerry.
So, I am Autism Dad. I'm the father of Cash. As y'all may have seen, he's been a little spectacle online lately. I'm here to answer some questions and try to disprove some of the stuff that's been going on. What y'all have seen online of Cash, that's not normal. And quite honestly, it shouldn't be on there. So one of the videos I saw last night that I'm going to address is his mom came out and said that
Your ears aren't playing tricks with you. There is somebody whispering while he's talking, and I think it's his new wife. I don't know if she's trying to coach him on what he should talk about for this response, because this was the first thing that he posted, and he has it pinned to his TikTok page. And then there was ones that were posted after, kind of going into more detail about certain things. But this was just, I guess, coached on what he should say. I don't know. It's really weird hearing the whispering, but it's not your ears playing tricks on you. It's actually happening. It's somebody telling him what to say.
hey, he acts exactly the same at his dad's house as he does at my house. He even kicked out the windshield in his dad's van. He didn't kick out the windshield. It was a total accident. His brother was in the front seat the day prior, had his feet up on the dash. When it was Cash's turn, he hopped in, put his feet up, and when he went to go adjust himself,
These videos just don't want to play for some reason. All right. Essentially in that one, because I don't know why it's not wanting to play. Like nothing is running horribly, I don't think. But his dad essentially says like he's not super violent at my house. I have him under control here. He's not able to run and do what he wants. He has a schedule. Like he says all the good things, but he's also like being told what to say, as you could hear from the whispers from his new wife. All right, so that's just not going to play. All right, so we're going to go on to the next one, see how far that plays. We're not having good luck for the videos. All right, this is Jerry again. The quality is much better in this video, and I'm not sure why. Maybe they used a different phone.
Guys, just to let y'all know right now, if there's any GoFundMes, it's not for me, Cash, or my family. I told you, I don't want your money. This is my fight.
To give context to this, I know it's been talked about in the Snark subreddit for Joannie that people were going to start a GoFundMe for Jerry for court fees and stuff because this is split now. The people that have been following the situation, there's people that feel that the dad's in the right and the dad's doing all the good things. And so they're trying to support him. But there's also the other side that feels that Joanie's the one that's doing all the good things and needs to be supported. But more on the situation with Joannie after we watch these videos, because I don't think she thinks things through. I don't think clarity comes to mind when Joannie sets forth to do something, and maybe it was done with the best intention, but it does not come off great. But we're going to listen to the rest of what his dad has to say on the GoFundMe that people wanted to start. He doesn't want them to do it.
Fight to take on. This is specifically for me working to get my children taken care of. I have not asked for money. I don't want money. It looks like there's somebody trying to start a GoFundMe that is fraudulent. I don't want y'all to send your money out on that. Again, I am not asking for anything. This is my
Liam,
battle
I
to
think...
take on. I appreciate those y'all willing, but
same here, Kalari. I'm glad there was no internet. We just was in the papers.
Guys, just to let y'all know right now, if there's any GoFundMes, it's not
but
for
Liam,
me,
if TikTok gets canceled or banned,
I told you, I don't
think
want
she's
your money.
planning on going to YouTube.
This is my fight to take on.
At least that's
This
why
is
she has the
specifically for me,
YouTube set up, I guess.
Working to get
which
my
there's
children taken
YouTube
care
Shorts, so it wouldn't be
I
that
have
much
not
of a
asked for
difference
money.
for, and there's
I
YouTube
don't
Live.
want money. It looks like there's somebody trying to start a GoFundMe that is fraudulent. I don't want y'all to send your money out on that. Again, I am not asking for anything. This is my battle to take on. I appreciate those y'all willing, but...
Hello, Tragically. We are just listening to Autism Dad Life, which is Autism Mom Life's ex-husband and the father of all of her children. I'm going to go ahead and switch over. I'm going to go ahead and remove these since they weren't working the best. And we've already listened to all of these. This is the last video, and then we're going to go on to the merch, which I don't know if I saved the picture. We'll find it. We'll find it. I promise you, we will find it. All right, so here's Jerry again.
Hey guys, been silent the last couple of weeks. It's not that I haven't had anything to say. It's I'm gonna let you in on what's going on.
This is the most
So
recent
on April
video, I
9th,
believe, that he
I was
has
delivered an
uploaded.
ex parte. Usually those are delivered for domestic violence or something like that. No, I didn't do it. I'm sorry to upset some people. But what that incurred was that it means I could have no contact with my children, their mother, or anybody else in regards. I also had all my firearms taken away as well. So on April 9th, thanks to a certain person, I lost my freedom of speech, my parental rights, and my Second Amendment rights. And basically am guilty until proven innocent in a court of law. April 10th, went to the court, never even got to talk to the judge. He passed it on. Following Monday, same thing happened. Supposed to have court coming up here on this Monday. From what I understood from my attorney, is the opposing party is already planning to continue it. So that's probably another 2 weeks out that I will not have the ability to talk to my children. It's not easy, because if you read what the gripe was about, it is one of the dumbest things in the world. Does not mention violence or anything. And the opposing party did actually get to talk to the judge and said they did not fear for themselves or for their children, but that they were worried because they had started a new TikTok business. And she was worried about if the kids go to school, what other children or people may say about them. So basically, the other party is worried about how the children may be affected by this. I love all y'all people out there that are in defense of my kids.
Tragically, this is Joanie to aka Autism Mom Life. This is Autism Dad Life. This is her ex-husband. They had a divorce, I don't know how many years ago now, but they've been separated. They've both moved on and remarried. He was just issued an EPO, basically keeping him from his kids while to like investigate whether or not domestic violence happened, because of the mother, I guess her motives are that she doesn't want the children to be picked on at school due to her merchandise that she launched. It's all very like messy and chaotic, and I feel so bad for the parties involved, because like this is their real life. This is the messy that they decided to delve into. I can't tell at this point who was in the right and who was in the wrong. So I'm gonna like remove judgment thus far from the father, but the mom is chronically online and chronically showing her disabled autistic children in bad lights for monetization, and it puts her other children at risk as well. Of course, kids get picked on all the time. Once you see the merch though that she dropped, you will kind of side with the father on this one. Like, well, I guess not the father. You'll kind of side with Joanie on the fact that like she created something that is going to make her son the butt of every joke. The domestic violence, I think that's what the EPO was placed in, but no domestic violence actually happened as far as the father is saying. But there has been discussion from Joanie's side of the family and Joanie herself saying how they think that the father puts his hands on the older boys to keep them in line so that they're not as aggressive with him as they are with her. And he feels like it's just because Joanie doesn't have any order in her house and it's just chaos all the time. And exactly, Daniel. I feel like she does make it worse by live streaming 24/7. Like that woman is always online. Like last night she had a live stream and she was cooking and people were having to remind her to check her food that was on the stove because it was boiling over and gonna burn. And it was like, ma'am, what are you doing? You have 6 children in the house, 2 of which they need a lot of extra attention. Where is your husband? Where are your people helping you? How are you doing this late at night while everybody else is sleeping? Like, why? I don't know. It's just very chaotic household. Let me go ahead and pull up this. I have folders, like everything, so I'm just like, let's pull this up. All right, let me get off this view, go into my display here. Reddit. So this is Joni's merch. I'm gonna see if it'll actually, let me pull in a full page. Let me pull in a full page view here. This deserves a full page. We have to see this in all of its glory. Sorry if you hear me typing away here. I want an actual web page in here. Yeah, we'll do just. Sorry for the ugliness, people. I will make the ugly go away in time. Yeah, we'll do something like that. Okay. So this is the merch. And I don't know if y'all can read what the shirt says. This is merch from her new apparel line. Another design she claimed that she made was just something bought off of Etsy, the design. But this is the merch that she decided was going to sell well. That was a representation of her autism awareness. Oh, and you can't even see it because of the chat. Sorry, I'm going to remove chat for a brief moment so you guys can take in the glory of this this t-shirt design. Now, for those not familiar with the TikTok video that went viral of the incident involving her older son getting very aggressive when he was told no to takeout food, he started yelling car keys because he wanted to go to was it Arby's? It wasn't Arby's, was it? My husband's in chat and I've talked with this about him. Applebee's. He wanted to go to Applebee's. Now, this is another thing about Joni that I don't understand. She has him on a schedule with fast food and kind of caves in to prevent further outbursts when it comes around food. He's very food reactive. Yeah, Arby's. But the car keys is spelled like this because that's his vernacular when he was wanting her to drive him to the restaurant to get food. And basically, she is bullying her child. How is this representation of autism? How is this representation of, informing everybody about, like, you're making your son a butt of a joke by putting this out there? That is horrible. It is so horrible. Let me see if I have saved the other design on here that she claimed. This is another design that she did, that she claimed that she made. The handprints, Awesome Mom. This was a bot design. This is all over Etsy. It's all over t-shirt places everywhere. Tragically, the dad is actually in court for a different matter right now, trying to get his children taken care of. It's kind of out of his hands right now. Hello, Rose. Yeah. Well, this one is okay, but it's the fact that she claimed that she made this is where people are like, "No, girl, you did not make this. This is like everywhere. This is an autism awareness shirt, but like this is not something you made." But the one that broke my heart was the car keys one. It's like, here, I'm even going to read through the comments because this was just outrageous. She's literally making fun of our autistic son. Exactly. Awareness, not profiting. Oh my God, Love on the Spectrum. I love that show. Abby is so sweet. I know this is evidence, but it's hard to put social media, like I feel like it's a weird line, social media, in cases like this. I feel like it is evidence. It's directly evidence of her not having the best interest for her children, and trying to profit off of them. The handprint was the alternative to a puzzle piece. But this right here was a choice, and it was not a good one. It was not a good one. Tragically, he said it in a certain, it's just his way of speech. He's nonverbal. So his speech is kind of broken. A lot of the times it's not cognizant. It's not something that can be understood what he's talking about. I know there was a similar meltdown over fast food here recently, and it's really hard to like gather what he's trying to say. I know she got him a tablet here recently. I don't know if it was through donation because she does work with the church a lot. But everything on there was like fast food, and it's like, how is that benefiting him? You have the boy addicted to fast food, and he is triggered by food. So if he's not able to get the food that he wants, that's another time that you've got to walk him back from having a meltdown. Like, how is that benefiting you? Yeah, it is another one of those where the law hasn't caught up with the internet. All right, let me bring chat back up here. Don't want to ostracize you guys. Leave you guys out. But yeah, I feel like a lot of what Joanie does is not in the best interest of her children at all. And the fact that like her whole family has gotten online to have something to say, and she hasn't said anything really on the matter other than, people are calling CPS on me every day, painting the victim role. And it's like, Joanie, they're calling CPS on you because you are putting your children in dangerous situations. I know I've discussed on her introduction video about the three-legged. Yeah, she's making fun of his actual speech pattern. Yes. It's horrible. It's horrible. I agree, Daniel. Autism doesn't mean not having boundaries or meaning they have to learn to accept being told no sometimes. That is exactly right. All children, like, you shouldn't treat your children any differently. Yes, it is a learning curve with autism. You have to tread waters a little bit differently, but it should still be the same basics. Like, they have to know boundaries because you don't want them hurting anybody or hurting themselves. She more than likely does. Like I said, tragically, I wholeheartedly believe Joni, she may have the best of intentions, but money is fueling this right now because I don't believe she works. And I've heard through the grapevine, through the Snark page, I haven't been able to verify this yet, but I want to do some more digging into it. But I've heard talk that she was a teacher. She taught 8th grade, wherever they are in North Carolina or South Carolina. They're in the Carolinas. But she was an 8th grade teacher and she was let go and then inappropriately sent a video to one of the children from her class that she taught of her in an ill-fitting bathing suit. And like, I heard stuff was, I haven't verified it. It's purely speculation at this point because I haven't verified it. But if it's true, it's very gross. And I feel like it speaks worlds more about her character behind this devout Baptist housewife that likes to play piano for her church. Yeah. It's definitely, I feel so bad. Like, I feel so bad about the situation because it's all young children. Like, they're all younger kids and they don't deserve this. Um, but everybody parents differently. But like, when it comes to social media and presenting your children on here, your young children as well, her younger children, like all below the ages of her 2 oldest autistic boys, I feel like she monetizes them much more, but then she's also putting her younger children in these situations. There's been live streams where her oldest son has picked up her very small son and was hauling him around. Like, what if he were to have like a meltdown and hurt that child? How would she be able to facilitate like calming the older boy down while also making sure that the younger child is okay? She puts herself in these positions, like, and while I'm saying, hello, Mash, I'm not trying to say like her son is dangerous and needs to be like locked up somewhere. No, but she needs the extra care. Like, she is run ragged and it's because she chooses to live stream everything. And all of her time spent with her children is online. You constantly see the kids bickering and like wanting attention from her. And it's like, let me live stream this. Let me show everybody how good of a mom I am, how devout I am, how I'm able to teach my kids online. Exactly. Like, if she wanted to be for autism awareness, why not just do her podcast? She has a podcast on YouTube. It doesn't have near the follower or subscribers that her TikTok has and doesn't have hardly the viewership that her TikTok has. But like, if she wanted to be honest about bringing awareness to autism, she would put more effort into her podcast and not have the video aspect of it. It can be just audio podcast. That's how I started out. I did reactions for a little bit and then went to just audio only podcasts and then came back to doing exactly match. People exploit their children on way too much. No offense, tragically. I'm not bashing on her being religious at all. Like, most of my family are Baptist in theory, I'll say. Exactly, Kalari. She could talk about the ups and downs without putting her kids at risk. But I feel like that bottom dollar is blurring that line of what's safe and what advocacy is for autism. Exactly, tragically. I've said the same thing. Like her younger children, even her older children, the 12-year-old, and I forget how old the next in line is. He's only a few years difference. I think he's like 10. But her oldest two are even too young, and they're not able to consent to something like this. Yeah, Kalari. Now, what happened with the church situation, why she was told not to come back, is because she was live streaming a church service, and she did it repeatedly. She was told to stop, and then they held a meeting on her behalf. She wasn't a party to it. She had to learn that she was not welcome back if she was going to continue live streaming. So Joanie pretty much said in a live stream she wasn't going to go back and wasn't going to play piano for them for church services anymore. She was going to be looking for a different church. And I'm just like blown away, like, ma'am, I think your priorities are a little twisted. If you're choosing to live stream, it is very narcissistic, but it's coming from all sides. Like, it feels like a fully narcissistic family just imploding because of everything happening. And I feel so bad for the children. Especially because a lot that's happened over the weekend. Because this is all came to over the weekend. Exactly, tragically. It would be more beneficial, but she doesn't want to do that because it's not going to make her the money that TikTok is by just provoking her son to throw fits and make a mockery of his speech when he's trying to get his wanting to get his way. And it's disgusting. It's really gross. But I am gonna start ending it here, you guys. I appreciate everybody that joined the live and took the time out to converse with me and discuss with me on the new things with Joanie. I'll try to close caption this after the fact. I don't know how well I will do with that because last time I tried to type in the closed captioning through YouTube, it was taxing, and then my cats like turned my computer off, so I was not about to restart that. It's okay, Mash. There's going to be more. I'm going to try to make this a regular thing. Maybe every Monday I can do this. Every Monday evening as kind of a start to the week. Just discuss things. Before we go, Amber Lynn, I know a lot of people aren't here for Amber Lynn content because of the title of this video, but Amber Lynn posted a video today doing a Q&A, and one of my questions was in there. One of my questions was in the Q&A, and it was if she felt that social media exacerbated her food addiction. And it was a very quick answer of she felt that it did to an extent, and then kind of just left off on it. And I was like, I really wish she would have went into more in depth with her answer, but answering 15 questions of the same old that she gets asked all the time. And then the fact that she doesn't feel motivated to post because of the things happened with her mom. It's whatever. But yeah, okay. That is it, you guys. I'm sorry some of the videos didn't work. I may post them after the fact. Yeah, because of the feeders. I may post them after the fact just so that you guys can see the full videos and maybe alter the audio a little bit so that the background noise isn't as bad in them, because I know her TV was going in the one, and I know we had heavy breathing and somebody coercing Jerry to speak on things. So I'll make sure to post those in a later post. But yeah, it was a fun first maiden voyage stream back. I haven't streamed in a while, and I'll try to make this a regular thing where we come on and discuss somebody or discuss something happening. But I would like to make this a regular thing. But I thank everybody for coming. I appreciate everybody for staying and watching and discussing. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.